Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's our chess show on Pod TV. My name is Sasha Starr. I would like to introduce our distinguished guests. It's a duo, Grandmaster Michael Marin and his beautiful wife, multi-talented Maria. And welcome to the show. And Professor
Hello, thank
Ken
Hello,
you.
Sasha.
Regan.
Hello, everybody.
Welcome to the show,
Nice to meet you.
Ken.
And thank you for
Nice
having
to
me
see
again
you
as
again.
well. Yes.
So
Hi, Kenneth.
everything is going according to plan. The candidates tournament is very close to finish line. Two more games, two more rounds, and there was no really drama in this tournament. Nepomniachtchi, right from the first round, got into leaders and is no doubts taking first prize. And what actually is interesting that there was no really competition because there was no other player could establish dominance any similar to what Nepomniachtchi demonstrated. So it was like a one-sided affair. Nepomniachtchi and seven others. That's really what we
Yeah.
can say about this tournament. Ken, is there any surprise for you so far?
Yeah, it is surprising that Nepomniachtchi came out to the very fast start. I've made the observation that only he and Hikaru Nakamura have seemed to avoid sometimes playing really bad moves. I mean, Nakamura missed some opportunities, but there's a difference. And so but anyway, yeah. So it's surprising that he's kept his head while those about him are losing theirs, as Kipling wrote. Well, and as someone recognized, 8.5 out of 12, or 8 out of 11, 8.5 out of 12. That's a Title Tuesday score, not a typical candidate score.
Yeah, it's really amazing. Mikhail, do you think that this is all due to the failure of Caruana and other possible candidates that they couldn't play in their own optimal level?
Well, first of all, just for fun, you may remember that we had a show right after the third round, and you asked whether we have an outsider in the tournament, and you mentioned that maybe Rajabov, and I was very much against this because, okay, Rajabov won a World Cup. I mean, okay, he's an experienced player, maybe not so ambitious now,
You're
but.
right.
And I was indicating Firuja as the clear outsider, even though he had 3 draws out of 3 games in that moment, because it was clear that his play was not, that he was struggling, and that he could not endlessly do that. And actually, there are 2 possibilities: either that he starts losing, he plays it the same way and he starts losing, which happened, or something happens with him and he starts playing better, and then So somehow this was prophetic. He was the outsider, according to my understanding, and it eventually turned out. I don't have anything against him, but it was clear that somehow his play didn't belong there. Now about Nepomniachtchi, first of all, I think that he's the only one who played somehow free of any pressure. You can feel this even from his statements. I mean, he doesn't think of qualifying. He just deals with the position and the moves. He didn't play such great chess. Actually, his play was rather poor in principle, conceptually. He got into trouble many times. But he was there. He knew that at some point the others would play even worse than him. And then he would use the moments. I mean, this happened with Ding. He sacrificed the pawn without any reason against Ding. We discussed the game in the first round, and Ding took it. Okay, he went for draws when he could, but not all the opponents believed his preparation, and they avoided the drawish line, and they would lose by force, more or less. And I mean, he was just he was alert to the possibilities. I mean, he didn't do a great thing, but he was just there. He was relaxed and waiting for the good moment, because this tournament was like this. I mean, all the players. Maybe one of the reasons of this level. I mean, it's not candidates tournament level. Probably were these years of pandemics when online rapid and blitz were so popular, and you cannot be really play really well when rapid is one thing, but if it's also on the screen, I mean, you just see a thing, you play it. You don't have time for deep thoughts. But of course, I don't mean mistakes which, I mean, many spectators, they look at the games with the engine on, and I said, oh, how come from +1 he dropped to -2? Such a blunder. No. I mean, conceptual mistakes which just an average grandmaster as I can spot. I mean, something was wrong in principle with the level in this tournament. Okay, one last word about Ding, because I assume that Ding will do the same as in the previous candidates. He played very poorly the first half, and then he had 1 year and he won the second half. But this was not enough. He even beat Nepomniachtchi in the last round. But this was not enough because his first half result was too low. And somehow here he started winning a bit late. He also got lucky with Caruana. He thought that he showed that he was also alert to the possibilities given him by fate. But then yesterday's game, okay, maybe we talked a bit after that. If you can defeat a top grandmaster of the third millennium with an idea played by Bogolyubov 90 years ago, it means that you are not so much ahead of, only because of computers. It was, but okay, we can talk about that because I have some interesting things to say.
What do you think of the observation I read someone made at chess.com, maybe, or Kasparov, I think it's Kasparov, saying that the fact that Nepomniachtchi had all this reserve preparation from the World Championship match is coming out here.
Okay, if this was true, then he would not have got so frequently in trouble. I mean, he was worse in several games which he won, no? Wasn't he? So, no, okay, the preparation against Rapport, yes, but Queen B3 with no development, it's obviously a sideline. And if you go for forcing play with white without completing your development, then it's not so unsurprising that it should be a draw. So, but okay, his merit is that he had analyzed that, even the side, the very sideline. But I didn't think that he's the. I mean, okay, against Caruana he got into trouble. Only that Caruana, okay, he's calculating, but I think it was a bit more of finesse there too. Okay, he was not lost, but I think Caruana should have got more than what he got. So I'm not so sure that his preparation. I think it was his freedom of spirit, and it's the fact that I know when I for the first time qualified for the interzonal tournament. Of course, it's a different level. I don't compare myself. I qualified the first time for the interzonal tournament. And okay, I played not so bad there, but okay, I didn't get to the candidates. And then 3 years later, I played against the zonal. And somehow I started with the same result as 3 years earlier, meaning -1 after 4 games. But somehow I knew the path. Psychologically, I knew the path to qualifying. And actually, I won my group. First time I had to play a playoff with Kirill Georgiev and Vladimir Shved. I won it, so I got to interzonal. But the second time I just won the group because it's somehow psychological. He's already open. He knows that is achievable for him. Caruana didn't have the same, but okay, Caruana is this kind of guy who, okay, he has good preparation. He's working out. I mean, okay, he's. Actually, there is a praise for him. He doesn't have such a talent, but he's working a lot at home and during the game. He's doing his best. He calculates. He doesn't stand up. But somehow I think he has some limits of understanding at some point. It's he only plays from calculation, and sometimes, of course, this is not bad if you are physically strong enough to do it for 5, 6, 7 hours. So
Mikhail, maybe he's too rigid in his overall approach to chess. So he studies openings very hard. He knows them very well, whatever he's playing. And then he's pressing and pressing and pressing. And I forgot who said so. Maybe even Petrosian. He was saying that, look, you can't press and press and press. Let your opponent play. Let them make some moves. Some of them will not be so strong. There are a few mistakes possible, but if you are pressing and you are forcing your opponent play the only move, the best move, it's very tough to win. However, let me make a little bit intermission and ask Maria to show her wonderful painting inspired by chess.
Give me the cat.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yes,
the
cat is miss us because we were
away the whole day.
Yes, on the shopping mall and no.
To visit a friend, yes.
It was a busy day, and the painting I'm not 100% sure because I start like that. But after some days or maybe months, I understand maybe the painting is more beautiful like that. And
beautiful
now,
colors.
Yes, and now it's a question because the position is here, and it's very small actually. But I have another chess piece in the painting, but the position is here, and
it should be yes, like this.
And now I don't know what is happening here, but I kind of like it.
Maria, bravo, very creative. And okay, now
would you call it a Tsartsitsa, Firebird, or?
Maybe, but usually a friend of mine call my paintings, and a friend of mine try to explain me what happened here because I don't understand, but friend understand little bit better than me actually.
Okay.
Well,
it was fine.
That's great. So coming back to candidates tournament, now it seems to me that there is going to be a very hard fight for a second and third places, because there are possibilities that Carlsen will not be playing a match for the World Championship for many reasons. For him to play Nepomniachtchi, he has to exceed the score that he had in the first match. This is extremely difficult and probably not achievable even for Carlsen. And if it's not achievable and he will not surpass his score in the first match, then what's the point for him to play that match at all? I don't think that money for Carlsen is a great motivating factor. I think he has plenty of it and more.
Having a double-digit reign, I think, is a big factor. He wins, defends his title and wins, he's guaranteed to be champion at least 10 years. And his only company will be Lasker and, Steinitz and Lasker, I guess, uninterrupted.
No, Botvinnik was also champion for 15 years.
Who?
Botvinnik with 2 interruptions.
Oh, Botvinnik, yeah, but uninterrupted is also
okay.
Yes.
Yeah, Kasparov was uninterrupted for 15 years, I believe.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Kasparov
but okay, he said this thing.
Yeah, you're right. For 14 years uninterrupted for Kasparov. Okay, yes.
First of all, it's not clear whether it was his idea or the idea of the team behind him, because it just sounds cool. I will only play with Firuzia. And by the way, maybe it was a tricky move, because maybe he knew that if he says that, Firuzia will not have any chance in the tournament, because Firuzia is young. He takes this into his heart, and he simply cannot play because he has the obligation to to win the tournament. And well, he could have been one possible candidate to a high place, but somehow he played very, very poorly here from the start. So maybe it was that. I personally, okay, there is this Magnus Carlsen concern. Okay, he owns only 9% or something like that of it. But okay, he's what is the play Magnus concern without him? So he's actually their showman. So I think it would be very bad for them if Carlsen loses a title. So I'm not sure that.
But as a PR move, it's very nice.
No,
and
to
maybe
say that, yes, to do it, I think
maybe it's very cool, and also it's now it's like like a pop star, which is very
I mean, when Fischer refrained from playing against Karpov, okay, he had his reasons, but he was on his own. I mean, he was not owing anything to anybody. It was just, you understand. I mean, okay, he owed something to his fans, but okay, it was not. But when the whole business is built on your image and results and outstanding results, okay.
But it got into the situation where Carlsen destroyed Nepomniachtchi in the first match. Now Nepomniachtchi destroying all this field of the candidates, right? So it means that on a balance, Carlsen is so much superior to all other candidates except Nepomniachtchi. And Nepomniachtchi he destroyed, obviously, in the first match.
No, okay, but
so besides the money, what's the motivation for him to play?
It was just one tournament. Maybe unlike before the match with Carlsen, maybe Nepomniachtchi made some psychological preparation. We don't know. Maybe this tension with the war and everything. I mean, okay, he's clearly against it because he undersigned, I think, the paper many many Russian grandmasters wrote. So maybe this. I remember this when we had guns on the street in Romania, and my second zonal was approaching. I had some sort of boost. I said, okay, at least if I get killed, I should have my conscience clean that I did everything to be in shape in the zonal tournament. So I prepared like never before, and actually I won 2 games with something that I analyzed during those days when they were shooting on the street. So maybe for him it was also something freeing. I mean, I said, okay, what the heck, life is short. We are somehow in a very unpleasant position now. So let's play chess and, well, whatever. I mean, let's have some joy with it. I don't know. But okay, for Carlsen, this should be a challenge, I believe, no? I mean, it's the same name, but probably it's a slightly different player. And I don't think that, I mean, okay, first time he beat him with +4, I believe, no? It was +4. If the second time he beats him only, let's say they made only draws, and he beats him only in the last, in the Armageddon, I don't think that for Carlsen it makes such a big difference.
Yeah, it would be Alekhine Bogolyubov, maybe.
I mean, okay, yeah, okay. Alekhine Bogolyubov, for instance, the first match was a real fight. I mean, Bogolyubov beat him 5 times, something that Capablanca didn't achieve. And the second match, okay, the gap was bigger. Okay, but if it's vice versa, okay. Do you think that Kasparov was very ashamed when he saved the match in the last game in Sevilla '87? No, he was happy that he retained the title. I don't think that. I think that Carlsen's dream is to at least win the Armageddon, if not something earlier.
Yeah.
I mean,
Carlsen is a businessman. It's first of all, and then
if he loses a title, especially
it's
like
just
this,
PR
then
move. I don't know.
no, saying things, of course. Well, he says that he loves some. Okay, hello, I'm the greatest guy here, and because of this teaching platform, I even have a girlfriend. I mean, okay, it sounds very, very funny, no? But they thought that it's good for PR, it's good advertising, and so
I think
I'm
Carlsen probably as well may forego the match, let Nepomniachtchi or whoever will be second to play, or if there will be a political consideration, then second and third prize winners will play match for the World Championship. And then Carlsen will come a few months later, a year later, or whatever, and say, okay, it's about time to play for serious money. There's a $5 million match. Whoever is a world champion, I'm challenging you, sit down and play. He can also say that the quality of play in this tournament was so low that Carlsen doesn't want to even participate in a match which will be probably the weakest match for the World Championship of all times. Ken, what's your suggestion? How was the level of play in this tournament?
So I have that the level of play is exactly up to par for what the players. So let me show, if I may share my screen, my
Sure.
spreadsheet of intrinsic ratings. One thing that's curious is that Stockfish 11 likes the players' play much better than my other testing engines. So now I think you can see the spreadsheet. Let's see.
If you can make it bigger, maybe.
Is there a weird effect of here? Now I think you just see my spreadsheet. And
yes.
put it center. So this is so I have 4 testing engines, and so this is the rating. Then I add 25 points. I'm adding 25 points also because the time control is slower. My work is now geared to the Olympiads, so. But this time control is slower, so you'd expect to have 25 more ELO. So Stockfish 11 says that the quality of the tournament is up, although within error bars of the players' ratings. It also notes that Nepomniachtchi it gives an over 3,000 rating. It's the only reading of that kind. Then my same model built with Komodo 13 agrees with the other engines that the quality is a little bit under the average rating. So 2746 instead of the average 2772. Still clearly showing Nepomniachtchi and also Hikaru Nakamura as the plus players, and the others all in the lower 2700s, and Firouzja high 2600s. Then Komodo, same model built with Komodo 10, likes Karawan a little better, but this is normal measurement variation within the error bars of this. Again, Nepomniachtchi high, weirdly Hikaru a little higher this time, average just a bit under the ratings. And then Stockfish 7, the oldest engine I use, gives the lowest totals, including is the only one to give a reading under 2600 for Ali Riza Firouzja. But scientifically, you average the 4 readings, and I get 2760, 2759, 12 ELO below the average of the rating, and about 35, 37 ELO below what I would expect for the lower time control. So a little bit under, but not terribly so. One other aspect of this is that there have been few short draws in this tournament. My coefficients are currently based more on team play, as at the Olympiads, where maybe players play a little more cautiously. There's only been one Grandmaster draw, and that was the last round of the game in the 12th round between Nakamura and Nepomniachtchi. So that may be also contributing to the lower figures. But I have a second comparison to show regarding this. And now let me get my browser up if I can. Oh, let's see. My browser's not coming up. Let me stop sharing and get the window. Okay, so my browser is over here. So I've done a comparison of the all the recent candidates tournaments, including also the tournament played in San Luis and Mexico that were officially world championship level events. And let's see, just have to get this up again here. Okay, so here we go. This is it. Let me increase the screen size a little bit more, and I'll show again. So this is in response to Vladimir Kramnik's assertion that the quality of this tournament has been lower. So I have this here. Now you're seeing ranking of candidates tournaments plus the 2005 and 2007 World Championship events. Now this is with my Quicker tool. It's with the tool I use for screening results. So it's not taking context or difficulty into consideration. So here are the results. The tournament in 2022 highest current tournament, and in 2014 and 2020. The tournament in 2013, the London tournament, which Kramnik said was the highest in quality, is actually lowest. This is only an accuracy measure, mind you. This is on a scale where 50 is the expectation. Again, the overall pattern being that perhaps because the players have incentive to play in more risky fashion, they are countered by the engines more, and hence these numbers are below 50. I have not yet had time to apply my fighting chess index. This is all material I compiled in the past 2 days. You could also say that maybe the recent tournaments have higher scores because this is reflecting opening preparation with the newer engines. In fact, the figure includes Stockfish 15 and Komodo Dragon 3, brand new engines. So to minimize that, I've also computed these figures from turn 17 onward. And the numbers are a little lower, again, because mistakes tend to be made later than turn 9 or later than turn 17 to begin with. So if you focus on turn 17 onward, you're probably going to catch more mistakes. But the relative ordering is still the same. Very clearly, the two recent tournaments in 2014 in Khanty-Mansiysk, which Kramnik thought was the worst tournament, are in a group by themselves. And then the two World Championship tournaments are in the middle, separating from the tournaments in 2013, 2016, and 2018, which are the lowest. I've also done the same calculation cutting off at turn 60, which I do for my screening test, and that produces exactly the same three-part structure. Sometimes little differences in the order. Here, actually, 2007 gets lower, but still pretty much the same grouping. So the quality does not just depend on the opening, but it was overall. So there's that. But of course, mind you, as I said, this is a quick computation that's not capturing all aspects of depth and strategy at chess, but it's a basis for evaluating the argument that's objective, does not depend on my international master level analysis of the games.
So I wish Kramnik would see this table so he would adjust his opinion.
It's being shared on Facebook right now. So
I'm not Kramnik. I saw these things. I'm sure that Kenneth is very accurate with his calculations. He uses Stockfish 11, 13. Okay, I mainly use Behind Marine version 2022, and I'm just curious if all these versions they can answer to some simple questions of an average grandmaster. I mean, it's very beautiful, but I don't think that this has so much to do with chess understanding and what was happening on the board. I don't think that. I mean, okay, if it was like this, then we would not play chess at all. We'll just let the engines play. Yeah. If you are only sharing the screen, just a moment. I have to.
Sure.
Yeah, I wanted to show. Yes. Okay. Let's take Nakamura Caruana. Yes. It's a game which I'm sure that
someone said that was a brilliant strategic game.
Yes, but not from Caruana's point of view, you know. That's
let me kind of share.
Okay, where is my? Why don't I have. Okay. Okay, send. Do you see the chessboard? Just a moment.
Not the chessboard yet. I see. Oh, now I see the
But now?
chessboard.
Okay.
Yep, perfect.
Okay, so this was okay. The deal was variation, a very old variation, which remains playable up to today. Okay, and Nakamura played bishop e3. Actually, this is not considered to be the main line. When I wrote an article some years ago, I wrote that this may be interesting. And okay, let's ignore what engines say. I mean, there is this not Lipnitsky, Alatortsev's principle. I mean, okay, when you don't know what to do, you think of which stage of the game you are. And okay, if you think of that, I mean, I don't think that any engine can ever prove that Rook AD8 is not the strongest move. And actually, Carona had a game. I mean, you just have to complete your development. Yes, Carona had a game with White when he couldn't get anything against Van Forest, a player who is presumably weaker than him. But okay, he played Bishop F5 at once. After Rook AD8, the main idea is that whenever necessary, I mean, B4 is one of the ideas, and whenever B4 comes, then D4 would be very strong. This is not available with the Rook there. Okay, Bishop F5 is a bit on the edge. Actually, now I don't understand why Nakamura didn't simply take. The Rook has to go somewhere, and then B4, and then maybe Black equalizes by playing D4, but it's kind of a struggling already. I mean, it gives away a pawn. But okay, well, Nakamura played here. He was a bit surprised. Here, okay, now this was more or less normal. And okay, this is another interesting position. Again, Caruana, okay, about preparation. He wanted to set up a trap probably, or he mixed up variations. I'm not sure, because he played C5 very quickly. The point is that, okay, Black has a rook and 2 pawns against 2 minor pieces, and his pawns are kind of mobile, yes, but you have to be careful with that, because if they get blocked, then you are lost. I mean, if they are mobile, you can be better. If they are blocked, you are just lost. So, well, there were moves. For instance, now you can move here, and now you have a choice between C6, C5, Knight C5, E6, or Knight C5, D3. I mean, that would be cool now to get the knight here, or to play here, and then, well, for instance, you avoid the combination which was possible in the game, because now simply there is this, and D5 is defended. So yes, and with C6, of course, well, the queen has to stay here, but it's not so simple, because, for instance, Knight G3, Bishop G6, okay, the queen has to go away, and then we go with the knight here, and it's a completely different story than in the game. Okay, he played C5, meant as a trap, but okay, the point is that after C5, it will be difficult to activate the knight, and the way he went, then if forced to play E4, then he would be just lost, which actually happened in the game. So, well, the trap was that, okay, Bishop G5 is not winning, because if here, then this wins a pawn, because if Rook E2, then the knight is hanging. So this is why, yeah. So this, but okay, he has D4, and then there is this variation. Of course, it's beautiful. Okay, Queen A7 is uncomfortable. Okay, if you analyze it with the engines, of course, Black is holding, but it's a bit of a struggle. Well, whatever. But okay, it was not such a trap. White doesn't really lose to lose. But of course, Nakamura played just normal chess. Queen here, now he forced C4. Probably E4 was better, actually. You play E4 while the D4 square is not available for the knight. And then, okay, this is still okay. I mean, Black is still doing well here. After C4, somehow some problems start. I mean, Black's pawns are immobile. I'm not sure if he's really worse, but it's a conceptual thing. You don't advance the pawns like this. And now, okay, what the last moment I want to show was Knight H1. Of course, this move was praised, and quite rightly so. It's a paradoxic move, but it has two purposes. First of all, it over-defends the bishop in view of the threat E4, and then it clears some space for the pieces. Yes, and the knight can come here, something that happened in the game. And actually now the threat bishop g3 is killing. So, and after e4 knight d4, okay, this is more or less reasonable for maybe not yet, maybe not yet. It's worse for black, but now he even lost some time. Queen g6. Oh, sorry, knight c5 was probably better, but he lost to tempi before of that. And somehow, okay, this was already. I mean, in general terms, it's more or less winning for white with accuracy. Okay, now I know that Nakamura doesn't like to study the classics, but okay, there are two games with such moves. One of them is Nimzovich Rubinstein. Nimzovich played knight h1 in order to open new trajectories for the knight, and he eventually won. And then we have this move of Steinitz, meant as over defending this with a minimum of means. To have the Steinitz lost, but in principle the move is not bad. So Nakamura's move was combining these ideas to over defend something and to clear. I mean, this is to defend something with minimal means, and this is to open new perspective to the pieces. So I'm sure that the engines don't have too much to object to Caruana's play. They would only say probably that Queen g6 was a mistake. Oh, he made a mistake and he got. But no, I mean everything he did, it's not quantifiable with the engine. But from conceptual point of view, move by move, he makes it a little bit more difficult for him. I mean, there is a lot of advancing the pawns, and you don't know how it will develop later. But so you have to be ready. I mean, pawns don't move backwards, so you have to be sure about what you are doing. Yeah, that was actually Queen g6. Was maybe Caruana's only real mistake in the game, but he was getting short of ideas. That was the problem, and of course, the probability of going wrong increases. So, and that's what I mean. Engines would not criticize any of his previous moves, which should actually be considered as a misconcept. And I'm sure that Kramnik had that in mind, because Kramnik understands chess very well.
Yeah, but what you just show us? Remember that just 3 years ago, no, it's now 4 years ago, Caruana drew 12 games against Carlsen. He hasn't lost even a single game. So now he's playing this candidates tournament. He's in the middle of the pack, nothing special. So do you think his level of play deteriorated since 4 years ago?
There is a problem with us chess players. We don't get younger. Year by year, we don't get younger. Of course, Caruana is not old. He's very young from my point of view. He's 30 or what? Yes. But okay, he plays some sort of chess. I mean, I think that he's not what you would call a talented player. I mean, no, that's okay. We are all talented, of course, but it's not that sparkling talent, like Capablanca, Petrosian, Karpov, who just feel the things.
And what about Mikhail Tal?
Oh, okay. I just give some examples.
Okay.
Also, Kramnik, for instance, no. He's a guy who works a lot. Yes, okay. The preparation, that's another thing, but during the game, and he's calculating. He's and of course you little by little you lose a bit your abilities. They are going like this, no, not like this, but they're going. It's the entropy. So the question is, what do you put instead in the balance? That should be what Korchnoi did to start learning chess again at the age of 30. He wasn't a talented player either. He was a hard worker, and he was also clever enough to understand what to work on.
Yeah. Spassky famously said Korchnoi has no chess talent.
Yes, but I consider that Korchnoi was the guy with the deepest and widest chess understanding in the chess history.
Right.
This allowed him to still demolish Caruana with black at the age of almost 80.
Right.
A few weeks missing. I mean, of course, he was very old. I mean, for chess, he was For a chess player, come on, at 80 to play with a 28 or okay, 27, 25 player that time. I mean, it's a joke almost, but he just demolished him. Understand? So, he did that. If you don't do that, then your results will go okay. Caruana can still win some convincing games. Okay, against Nakamura, it was not a bad game, for instance. Probably it was also some preparation, but then he played well. But okay, well, now he doesn't stand the tension for 14 rounds already. So you're calculating doing the same thing, same day. I mean, Nepo is a talented player. Nepo has some special talent. He knows how to keep the tension somehow. He chooses the move among the 3 or 4. We talked about that before the match. Among the few candidates, which are all of them 0-0-0, he chooses the move which invites the opponent to make a mistake. I mean, it's the same thing like I've seen this game. I mean, none of Caruana's moves was a mistake according to the computer, but together they led to something unpleasant. So and he gives them this opportunity, Nepo, to. So he has this talent. I mean, he feels that. I don't think he can explain what he does. None of the talented players can do that. Okay, Karpov had all the times had somebody who, for instance, Razuvaev in the 70s, who explained what he was doing in the games when annotating the games. But such intuitive players, they cannot explain because it's natural for them. Of course, Karpov would say, okay, I'll calculate it, this, okay, this he can do, but for them it's easy somehow. It's easy to play, but to explain, of course, a bit different. Tal was also what he was seeing.
According to Stockfish 15, against Nakamura as black, all of Caruana's moves 26 through 29 were mistakes, as well as some others. So
but this was at a later stage, no? Or
20. Let's see, which moves were you showing? I guess let's see. Move 20 was mistake, but I think 25 through 29 was that the sequence you were showing? Let's see.
Just a moment. I have to. Why? Okay, Nakamura. No, I showed something from 16 to 16 to 20. Yeah, to 25. Yeah, but
okay.
You understand? Actually, he prepared his defeat with his move between 16 and 25. And then the engine sees that he starts playing badly after that. But actually, it was already difficult from human point of view. That's the different perspective of humans and computers. That's what I want to point out. Because in difficult positions, all the moves are bad. Tarash knew that. So that's my... Yeah. Of course, after that, he slipped towards... But okay, it was already... After the pawns get blocked, of course, White can play forever for a white. At no risk.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, 20 through 25. Yeah, knight h1 was move 25. Yeah, so it was the e4 move.
Yes, and then queen g6 was the first move, which was, according to the engines, a real mistake.
Yes, that's what I see. Yeah.
Yes, this I said. Yes, because it loses 2 tempis. h4, h5 is molesting somehow. But you understand that if you look at just set up the position on your board and try to think of a move for black. Do you really like black's position after you got c4 and d4? The bishop is caged on d3. The d4 square belongs to white. I mean,
yeah, I don't like it. No, you're right.
You understand? Okay, the engines would hold that, but to humans, I'm not so sure. It's already. This is what I mean.
Yeah, I get c5 and c4 as the mistakes identified by Stockfish 15.
Mistakes.
20 and moves 20 and 22.
They are mistakes or not?
They're mistakes, yes. So
yeah, well, it depends. Okay, also, but okay. For instance, the engines I'm using Fat Fritz mainly because it's based on this Alpha Zero. Yes, it's the same engine. I use it on online computers, which are quite fast. And
which engine do you use? I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Which engine do you use?
Fat Fritz, which is actually
Fat Fritz.
Which is actually Alpha Zero.
15, I thought. Okay.
No, Fat Fritz I prefer, which is basically Alpha Zero.
Oh, okay.
And run on computer, pretty strong computers. He doesn't identify C5 and C4 as mistakes, but to me something is wrong. If I so okay, some other programs think I don't use so many engines. I mean, I just want to check my own thoughts. I mean, just not to say something completely stupid. So I don't have the time to use all the engines to think which of them is right. But okay, then it means that I was basically right, even though Fat Fritz approved those moves. That C5 and C4 are, playing a bit with fire, at least. No.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, so I'd like to. Yeah, I'd like to. I would update my Fritz actually. I guess it has a different neural net. I guess. See, from it's not 15. It'd be interesting to see how different. The problem is you run it under Windows. I need to run it under Linux.
When we'll have a moment, maybe I can show.
I can say afterward. Yeah.
Ding's game. The game Ding lost yesterday.
Yes.
Can I share the screen again, because I have some interesting things to say about that. Okay. No, it's not about level. It's about several things. Okay. Let me one moment. Do you see the chessboard?
Not yet.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so Ding played d4. Okay, we know, all of us know that he usually plays c4, and whatever comes g3, which I have played for 12 or more years. And actually I was following him, but he plays only this. Recently I actually even wrote some articles starting with knight c3, and even against knight f6. Knight f6, also knight c3, and if this. I mean, this is because, I play this so much, and Ding has also. The opening is good, but it induces some laziness, because you get to know it inside out, and you just play. You don't feel the critical moments when it should become concrete. So this induces this laziness. You just play, and you get some symbolic thing, and you don't win, because you missed. Actually, this happened in his game with Firouzja. He could have got a better position, but he just played like this, and it was a simple draw. So you are just like caught in a shell. You are trapped there in the shell. You just play your moves. You don't look at the position as a chess position. You just know that it's the c4, e5, g3 position, and it shouldn't be like that. You should have a wider perspective. Ding understood that and decided to get out of his shell. And I think that he doesn't have enough practice, especially against an opponent like the Ninja-Indian, which is very complex and tricky. And I think this was a mistake for him. I mean, of course, it's better to either alternate the openings regularly, or to just stick to c4, e5, g3, and analyze and reanalyze again, and understand when you missed a chance and whatever. And okay, this was the first part. Well, now c takes d5 is very popular. I don't understand why, because now we get the exchange variation of the Queen's Gambit, but the bishop is not here. So anyway, okay, it's very popular. Queen here, and now Rajabov. The usual pattern is something like this: you play c6, white develops. At some point, white plays f3. He wants to go e4, and when he goes f3, you go c5, never by losing a tempo. Because now if takes, then this pawn may be a bit weak. The bishop can take, and then you have some problems on e3. So the line goes h4. Okay, it's white has some chances. He has reasonable development. He'll castle long. Okay, it's a game. And Rajabov played this very quickly, which looks a bit strange, no? And even stranger is the fact that, okay, if b4, then somehow black always gets a target there. So somehow he gets counterplay. So okay, knight e2, and now the surprising concept was that black played c5 at once, without waiting for f3.
I play this as the Queen's Indian, yeah.
Sorry?
I play like this in the Queen's Indian, but yeah, okay, this is different.
Yes, but it's b6. You have b6 on the board if it's Queen's Indian. Okay, but you know what the funny thing is? This very rare move was played by Bogolyubov in his game against Joner 90 years ago. Okay, Bogolyubov lost the game, but actually it's funny that Joner made the same kind of mistakes. Okay, he got worse, Joner, with white. For instance, b4 was a lot of time. Probably he has to castle to play this to prevent anything with all the things with bishop takes h2, and now probably a6 to prevent knight b5, knight d4. And black doesn't have problems. White should probably just refrain from weakening his light squares here. But okay, he went b4, took, and now actually black could use this tempo with knight here, and if so here. Now knight h2, engines are very enthusiastic about it, and probably it's good, but even if knight f6, white doesn't castle, and black has very good. I mean, he has these squares.
Yeah.
White is in some trouble. No, okay. And later, okay, he played like this. Now a6 was probably normal, but a5 was also okay. And now the only thing white shouldn't do was to play b5, because now this square belongs to the knight. He should have played either knight b5 or simply castle. Just give up the pawn, but play knight b5 and all the thing. Because after b5, now the square is not available, and now Bogolyubov got now queen h4 was even stronger, but queen h6 is also strong. Somehow white doesn't have coordination. He's hanging. The position is very
for black. Yeah.
Yeah, it's clear advantage. So Ding did something similar in the game. Okay, he took here and now took. Now, of course, he played b4, which is already a bit on the edge. It weakens. Actually, there was a correspondence game. I think there were only 3 games with, Bogolyubov's game and another 2 games with this knight a6. There was a game in correspondence where they played like this, rook e8, knight here, and somehow white was not worse. Okay, he plays the pawns as he should, and here they agreed to a draw. Because no, of course the game is on, but black also has his trumps. He has this control over these squares. So not only this knight is strong, black's minor pieces are also. So b4, b4 already creates some obligations. Of course, a5, like Bogolyubov played, and now b5. b5 is already a bit on the edge. Again, he should have just used this square, and it is just castle. And I'm not sure it's a real pawn sacrifice. You cannot take on a3. The threat is to take and then bishop a3. If you move away with the rook, then takes on b4 and queen b4, bishop f6. So maybe black plays something like b3. And of course, black is doing relatively well here because there are so many squares. I don't know where to put the bishop. Maybe here. No. b6. Okay, but you understand. Black has play here. I mean, the default square is not the only important thing in this position. But okay, after b5, white's position becomes a bit rigid. For instance, now he cannot go here because he loses a pawn. Queen c7 pins the. So h3, bishop d7, and now he should have tried to play a4. Black has good play. Queen c8, bishop f5 is coming. Okay. But now the funny thing is that he took here, and this is a concession. Now the knight doesn't get to b5, and this rook. Just imagine. I mean, do you remember Ding's win against Rapport when he played rook b8, rook b7, rook c7? That was a great maneuver, of course. But now he allowed something even more brutal than that. I mean, rook lift. Somehow it was clear, and I think that this was the panic that the guy who all his life played g3 and bishop g2 and had his king very safe there. Now the guy understood that he cannot castle because the bishop is missing and there are possible sacrifices here.
Yeah.
And, if castle, then queen c8, and it's not easy to see what to do against bishop takes h3 with devastating attack. Here and now, he went f3. Okay, if castle, then bishop h3, that's obvious that it's simply winning. So if knight d5, then this is just a small. You have to find this move, bishop a4, and now there is no defense against rook b1. So f3, and then of course this was already these are queen c1 allows the combination, but it's obvious that white is basically lost. And now rook a3, and okay, it was not possible to take. So yeah, what I wanted to show with this game was, first of all, that of course he prepared his variation because he played quickly, but then he gets a move invented in 1932, and somehow he doesn't know what to do against it. And it's also because it's like Caruana. His moves cannot be criticized somehow, but somehow he didn't feel the position. And Ding, it was obvious that he didn't feel the position because he didn't have the bishop on g2, which is I know the feeling. I'm not criticizing him. I'm also talking about myself, because myself I'm playing sometimes d4 because I feel that I want to get out of the shell, and I don't always get good results with it. It depends. Sometimes I lose painfully with white because I'm not used so much to go for an open fight. So no, I saw that these were some interesting aspects. I mean, something that engine don't tell you, and you know, the Bogorubov thing, it was actually really comforting. See that, okay, we say now Bogorubov, okay, the guy whom Alekhine beat and who was Alekhine anyway, okay, he's good for history, but no, it's not like this. I mean, people could think in those days. They're not so weak. Maybe statistically they make more moves. Maybe. Yes.
Of course, I have large data overall, so maybe things even out over particular moves.
Well, we still have 2 more rounds to go.
Yep. So will Nakamura or Ding for second place, or one of the ones behind them could catch up with 2 wins. So
I think Nakamura has pretty good chances actually to become second.
Well, he has to do something with white against Duda tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll see with interest the last 2 rounds, and I will discuss overall the tournament. I have a lot of thoughts about the present system for designating a challenger for the World Championship, and we'll discuss it next Saturday. Thank you so much for being on.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, and we'll see you next Saturday.
And at some point, we'll talk about ultra bullet chess. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
All right.
Bye-bye.